The FBI now says the slaughter of 14 innocent people, the 21 others that were injured by a California husband and wife, may be the first mass attack in the name of ISIS on U.S. soil. It is raising fears that this killing, if it turns out to officially be labeled terrorism, may be just the beginning. Joining me now, Seamus Hughes from George Washington University Center for Cyber and Homeland Security. He's the author of a new study on the rise of ISIS in America. It is fascinating, incredibly timely, incredibly troubling what you found looking at extremism. I want to look at the findings of your study and looking at the number of ISIS recruits and arrests in the United States has tripled this year. We're looking at this map, right? You've got Minnesota, New York highlighted with the most arrests. You've got 56 total this year. Why?
I think there's a variety of reasons. The fact that ISIS has an actual state, it's something that people are being drawn to. The other reason is ISIS is very adept at using social media, and they've used it very well. They're going where their demographic is. We looked at 7,000 pages of legal documents to figure out, who are these people that are in the legal system. The average age was 26. One-third of the cases, they were 21. It makes sense that you're using social media to recruit and radicalize people.
You've said that this radicalization process is, quote, highly individualized. And what I find interesting as well is that we've had law enforcement officials telling our Jim Sciutto here at CNN that radicalization is now much more quick, that some people are being radicalized in this country and in Europe in 2 to 3 weeks. Is that what you found?
We've seen the radicalization process shorten from what used to be a few years to a few months, and even sometimes a few weeks. Now, each person is different, and humans, by their very nature, are very complex. But with the use of social media, you're able to essentially get your information, your propaganda on demand. So if you want to listen to a lecture, if you want to listen to the latest ISIS video, you can just type on a keyboard and be able to get it very quickly. So that time is shortened. What also is shortened is you're able to essentially reach a radicalizer and recruiter online. The bar for being able to reach an ISIS recruiter has been lowered.
So let's take a look at that map again, and let's talk about Minnesota, right? I'm from that state. I've studied this. I've spent time there. You've got an issue with some in the Somali community being targeted there by what was, Al-Qaeda and now ISIS. But you also have a big group of the parents there and community members trying vehemently to combat that. Talk to us about that as a case study.
Yeah, so in 2007 to 2009, you had about 24 kids that went from the Minneapolis area to Somalia to join a terrorist group, Al-Shabaab. And then a lot of that was relationship built. When you look at it now, it's building off that same relationship. So the individuals that went to Somalia prior, their brothers or sisters or roommates, there's still a relationship. What we saw in this case was the first wave went over to Syria, and then they called back their friends through Facebook and said, come join us.
So is it being effectively combated in a case like Minnesota?
It's very difficult to do. This is the million-dollar question. What do we do on the front end? What is the prevention effort here? When I was at the National Counterterrorism Center, I did countering violent extremism. So we do community engagement. I spent a lot of time in Minneapolis meeting with family members of people that had joined Al-Shabaab, who had died over there, and they're just trying to wrap their head around, what do you do? What do you do when you have a kid that you're worried about? The current efforts are you do nothing, you hope it's just a phase and they grow out of it, or you tell the FBI and potentially talk to your loved one through a prison bar for the next 20 years. We need to figure out that middle space so we can be able to bring those kids back into the fold.
Absolutely, no question about it. I mean, the average age of the recruits, you said, was 26 years old. What about the other characteristics that you think they share?
Yeah, so that's the biggest takeaway from the report is there's a diversity in terms of the profile. They're old, they're young, they're rich, they're poor. There's high school kids, the 3 individuals from Denver. There's college-educated kids. There's not necessarily a profile when it comes to ISIS. They tend to be male. 40% were converts when you looked at the legal system, when the general population, American Muslims, is 23%, so it's a little bit off on that. But for the most part, there's not a profile other than they tend to be younger.
And 86% male, right?
Absolutely. Wow. But we've seen examples of women that are joining terrorist groups, 10 in this year alone.
10 this year alone. All right, Seamus, thank you very much. A fascinating report. I'd urge everyone to take a little bit closer look at it out of George Washington University. Thank you for being with me.
Thank you.